Hey there, welcome to the video. Today I wanted to talk about how fitness has impacted and changed my life for the better and how it could possibly do the same for you as well. I'm gonna take you through my own fitness journey, the things that I did wrong, the things I wish I knew when I first started, and my hope is that you can pick up something from my journey that maybe took me years of trial and error to figure out that can maybe speed things up for you, or at least give you a little bit more context into my background. If you're someone who is watching my channel pretty consistently, knowing a little bit about my background is always good. So growing up in school, in middle school, high school, I was always very scrawny and skinny, and it really impacted my confidence, and wasn't too sure of myself, didn't have a lot of self-confidence. And it wasn't really until college that I started to work out consistently and use working out and fitness as a way to make myself feel better, give myself more confidence that I could then go use in other areas of my life as well. However, as most people, when they first start something new, I didn't really know what I was doing. So I would go to the gym, I would work out for like multiple hours a day, 2 hours a day. And after a couple years of this, I still didn't really look like I was someone who was so serious about the gym and who worked out all the time. If you look at me in a t-shirt or me in a suit, like for my job or my internship, you would never think that, oh yeah, that's someone who is like super serious about working out. You didn't even know that I worked out. And after a couple years, I sort of learned the hard way that you can put tons and tons of time and effort into something like working out, but if you don't know what you're doing and if you're not doing the right things, or if there's one or two pieces of it that you don't have right, like the nutrition, that it's not going to yield really significant results. But I did love fitness so much that in college, I became a personal trainer. I got certified through NASM, which is the National Academy of Sports Medicine. And I got a couple jobs working as a personal trainer at gyms near my college. I worked at Equinox, I worked at a small privately owned personal training studio where I really got my first hands-on experience training adults, training clients in person in the gym for a few years. Now let's be clear, just because I passed a silly little certification that was online for NASM, and just because I was working as a personal trainer with barely any experience, doesn't mean I really knew anything about helping someone change their body, helping someone get stronger, helping someone turn their health around. So I was still very inexperienced at this point, but I was starting to get into the industry. And where my first major obstacle, or I should say next obstacle, came for my own fitness was when I left college and I got a corporate job working in the financial industry, and my life totally changed, right? I wasn't working as a personal trainer anymore in the gym, spending every hour of the day in the gym where it was easy to work out, where it was easy to have meals in the fridge ready to eat all throughout the day. But I had a typical 9-to-5 job, and in New York and in financial sales, you're more so working like 7:30 to like 7 or 7:30. So it's a long day and you're sitting down at a desk, and I was commuting to work. So at first I really struggled to juggle my own health and fitness and to stay in really good shape while I was working that traditional corporate job. And like I said before, I was technically a personal trainer at this point, but I was a very inexperienced one, only 1 or 2 years of experience, and I didn't really know anything about nutrition. You don't learn much at all about nutrition in the traditional personal training certifications. I probably knew more than the average person, but by no means was I as advanced or knowledgeable as I am now about it 11 years later. So what I did at the time then during my corporate job to try to stay in shape, because I genuinely at this point thought it was the only way to stay in shape or to stay lean. And that strategy was to essentially eat a small portioned healthy meal every 2 to 3 hours. The fitness industry goes through fads and it goes through swings of different topics that are very popular. The keto diet was for a good chunk of years the most popular thing. Now it's a lot of like the carnivore diet type stuff. Back then, about 10 years ago, it was this small healthy meal, 5 to 7 small healthy meals every day. And someone who I looked up to told me that that was the way I needed to eat in order to stay in shape and in order to look shredded. So this is literally what I did. On Sundays, I would cook like 20 or 30 meals. I would spend the whole day on Sunday cooking those meals. I'm not a good cook to begin with, so I had this like dried, overcooked meats stuffed into these little Tupperwares, and I would pack them in the fridge. And I would bring a few of them with me to work each day, and by the time Wednesday rolled around, they weren't even appetizing anymore. I didn't even want to eat them, by the second half of the week. So to recap, I was working Monday through Friday, long hours, a corporate job. By the way, I was training my own private personal training clients sometimes in the hours before work started and in the hours after work, plus on the weekends. And then I would spend pretty much all day Sunday, or at least the first half of the day, meal prepping these meals because I thought I needed to eat 5 or 6 meals every single day to stay in shape. So I was sacrificing a lot of my quality of life. I was sacrificing a lot of my time, and it was really, really hard to keep up. I did this for about a year, maybe a year and a half, and it just sucked the life out of me. I don't know if you've ever been on the New York City subway at rush hour, but it was miserable commuting, not just commuting on the subway in New York City during rush hour, but to have my work bag, to have my gym bag, because I was trying to work out before work often, and then to have a third bag of meals. It was incredibly hard, and I was squeezed in on the subway, sweaty people all around me just piled in. It was the worst. So that was really the major mistake I made on the nutrition side at this point, which was thinking this was the way I needed to eat, that there was something that I needed to do in order to stay in great shape. And eventually I discovered that that wasn't the case. I had someone introduce me to intermittent fasting, which is essentially skipping breakfast, eating your first meal around lunchtime, eating your last meal at dinner, having some snacks in between, but essentially you don't eat before lunch, you don't eat after dinner. And I gave this a try, and it really resonated with me at the time because, like I said, I was commuting into New York City. I was very, very busy. I was doing a ton of meal prep, and the idea that I wouldn't have to have 25 or 30 meals ready to go for the week, and I could enjoy myself more on Sundays, that really appealed to me. So I started doing this intermittent fasting. It was a major boost in quality of life. All I needed was to have one meal prepared and ready to go for lunch each day at work. I would come home and eat dinner, and usually what we would do is we would just cook extra dinner so that I could take that extra portion and bring it tomorrow for lunch. So it was a major increase in my quality of life, and I was able to get in really good shape this way with much less effort. It was much more convenient, and it was more time efficient. It just worked way better with my schedule at the time. And this really taught me that there wasn't just one way to get in shape. There wasn't just one way that you needed to eat or one way that you needed to train, but there's all these different methods and strategies out there that have worked for other people. And it was a matter of what strategy or approach would make the most sense for your life and your preferences and your schedule. The next major jump in my fitness journey came in about 2015, 2016, when I hired my first coach for myself, and I opened myself up to the idea that there was someone out there who was more experienced than me, who could help me learn more about training, help me learn more about nutrition, and help me take my physique to the next level. Because prior to that, I sort of had this big ego going on. I thought that just because I was technically a personal trainer and technically that I had a certification, that I shouldn't need help from other people, or that I couldn't, learn from someone else who was also a trainer. And that's just obviously so stupid, right? Because, there's levels to this stuff, and someone who's been in their profession for a year or 2 years certainly doesn't have as much experience, hasn't helped as many people as someone who's been doing it for 10 years or 15 years. And that was me at the time. I was an inexperienced trainer who knew the very bare bone basics about fitness that was more than the average person, but by no means was I advanced? And the biggest lesson that came out of this, me hiring this coach who basically helped me to prepare for a men's physique competition, the main lesson that taught me was that no matter how knowledgeable you are in a particular area, in this case in nutrition and strength training, that having the accountability to report back to someone is really the major thing that leads to getting exceptional results. So even if you are someone who is very knowledgeable about nutrition or very experienced with working out, if you're not reporting your macros or what you're eating or the exercises and weights that you're using in your workouts back to someone else to have a second look at, you're leaving results on the table. You just are. Because two minds working together on a common goal is always going to be better than just one person doing it. There's always going to be blind spots that one person has and doesn't see that the other person can catch and can help out with. Working with this coach, I also learned a lot about how to eat and train in a calculated way, which could predictably improve my physique, right? I could more predictably lose body fat and I could more predictably build muscle by having a more calculated approach to my eating. Essentially knowing how much I was eating, how many calories I was eating in a day, how much protein, carbs, and fats I was eating, which I didn't really know too clearly before. And I did see at this point there's a major difference between what I was helping people with before as a very new beginner trainer, which was basically just helping set up a basic workout plan and walking them through the workouts and the exercises. And I basically knew that they should have a balanced routine. They shouldn't be neglecting any muscle groups. And I knew the proper form for the exercises. And I knew the general idea that eating healthier foods was gonna be better for them than eating junk food. But as great as those things are, and they're better than not having any plan at all, they're not necessarily what can lead to changing your physique. And eating specific amounts of food is what will have the biggest impact on losing body fat and or gaining muscle. And this was an amazing experience, and I've worked with more coaches since then to learn even more about how to coach someone to see the results that they want to see, and how to actually take adult men in real life and help them change their body in the way that they're hoping. And in the 7 or 8 years since I hired that first coach, I've competed in many more men's physique competitions. I've done a ton of muscle building phases where I've successfully built probably between 20 and 30 pounds of muscle as an adult male since that time in high school and college when I was first really getting started working out. And since then, I've used everything that I've learned and all my experience at this point working with hundreds of male clients and helping them improve their body by losing body fat, building muscle, and developing habits and routines that will serve them for life. And that's been my main passion ever since, helping men to overcome the things that I faced earlier on, feeling insecure about myself, feeling like, I wasn't as confident as I wanted to be. Using fitness as a tool to elevate my quality of life and, become the type of man that I want to be. And that's really what I've molded my Modern Man coaching program around, is developing these habits, developing these skills, learning about training, learning about nutrition, so that fitness can be used for the guys that I work with, not just as a way to get in great shape and to look great, but to be a part of their lifestyle, something that they can use to enhance other areas of their life, like their career, their family life, their social life, and to be part of just a great supportive community of men from around the world. Talking about my Modern Man program, where I can't believe all these guys that I've met through coaching them that are all over the world that have just become such important parts of my life. And if I didn't get started on my own fitness journey and my own goals, then I don't think I'd have this awesome community of men that would all be supporting each other throughout life and throughout this fitness journey as well. I even had a handful of the guys in my Modern Man program at my wedding, which was just a year ago. We had people coming in from all different states to be there, which was, I felt really grateful for. So that's how fitness has changed and improved my own life. And I hope to some degree it resonated with you, or maybe inspired you to take your fitness to the next level as well, or to stick with your current fitness journey that you're on right now. That's it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you on the next video, which we'll get back to the usual information-based, informative, hopefully helpful, strategic fitness content in the next one. So I'll see you on the next video, and I'll talk to you later.